The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
Okay, let's go.
Happy Wednesday, everybody, and I hope everybody had a good first day back. These short weeks, or I should say these holiday weeks, gosh, it's already Wednesday. It's like they fly by. Again, like I said before, life is flying by. Anyway, this is Ray Dustar, and this is the Deep Shallow Dive. We are going to do a little bonus episode again. I am still testing this bonus format to see if it's good. And basically, this is a quick follow-up to the previous podcast based on audience reaction or based on just maybe me forgetting a couple things in that one. And so this is something that, again, ideally is even less than 10 minutes or right around that duration of time so you can sort of round out the experience. And this one is a little bit of a follow-up on what we talked about yesterday, which was real versus fake. God, what is it that you even can tell is real and can tell is fake anymore, especially when it comes to getting your news off of the internet? Really quick side note. I know everybody loves my side notes, but hey, I warned you. I said there's going to be a lot of these. So, I'm ironing out the kinks right now with this podcast. And so, yes, these are live episodes and these are, episodes that are going to live forever. And if you've liked them so far, would love for you to share this podcast with your friends, and that would be awesome. Would love that. But before I do my official big grand launch, I'm trying to iron out some of these kinks. And so this is hilarious. In Apple Podcasts, which, by the way, I don't really have to do anything in Apple Podcasts because, again, like I've said in previous podcasts, I'm hosted with Spotify for Podcasters. So when I record these episodes, including this one, and I post directly into my host, which is Spotify for Podcasters, that automatically gets syndicated to all these different platforms, including Apple Podcasts. But I do have an account on Apple Podcasts, so you can go into that account. It's actually really cool. You can look at data. You can see how many people have listened to that episode, again, only through Apple, and get some other information. But this is funny. There was a dialog box that says, how often do you upload or update your podcast, just to give listeners, an idea of how many times to expect it. And so I'm pretty much cranking out episodes on a daily basis right now. But one of the choices was bi-weekly. And I don't know, I was like, bi-weekly? What the heck does that mean? Does that mean twice a week? Or does that mean twice a month? And so I Googled it, and as I shared previously, Google now is incorporating their artificial intelligence capability, generative AI called Bard, into their search. And so I said, what does bi-weekly mean? And then it popped up, generative AI is experimental, and then gave me this answer. Bi-weekly means something that happens once every 2 weeks or twice a week. I'm like, dude, is it once every 2 weeks or is it twice a week? Like, that's a big difference. Twice a week times 4 weeks, that's 8 times. Once every 2 weeks in the course of a month, that's 2 times. So that's pretty hilarious. It's like, and then I said, okay, maybe generative AI is just not up to speed on this. And I just looked it up regular. And again, yeah, super confusing. So bi-weekly, is it twice a week or once every 2 weeks? I guess it's like the color gray. Is it spelled Gray or Grey? I think that one's both as well. Like, why? Pick a spelling. All right, wow, that was probably more of a side note than people wanted, but that's just goofy that it was so confusing to me. Okay, let me get into this. And, yesterday in the previous episode, we talked a lot about, just the ability to create, fake news. I hate to say that term because I know that term kind of took on a derogatory meaning because Trump used it so much, but it's not derogatory. I mean, there really is fake news out there, and not just fake news being generated by the mainstream media, but there's obviously fake news being generated by the non-mainstream media, and the ability to do that is so easy these days because of all this artificial intelligence, whether it's the voice synthesis platforms, the image creation platforms, all of that stuff. Yesterday I talked about, once again, 11 Labs, and I introduced you to Midjourney. And so really how it's just so easy to create an amazing graphic, throw some percentages and some statistics. And then I had one friend point out saying, well, everything needs to be sourced. And so here's the funny thing about that. Okay, so all you have to do is put a source the Financial Times of NYC. You can, like, people are doing this. They're giving you a terminology that sounds legit, but who knows what the Financial Times of NYC is? I just made that up. But even the source capability can be fake. It could be something that they just made up. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, are people really then gonna be like, okay, let me go into that source and let me verify if that source is legit? Nobody does that. You take everything at face value because life is moving so fast, especially when it comes to these platforms like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, where you're just scrolling. You know what I mean? Think about it. You're scrolling, you see a thought-provoking or provoking, intriguing graphic. It's got some percentages on there. Okay, it's got a source on there or whatever. And that could be totally not true. But again, because it looks so professional, we believed it. So anyway, I talked about stuff yesterday. There's a couple examples that, gosh, people sent me after that episode. One was insane. It was a deep fake video with audio of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Shout out to my friend Catherine again. I call her Scoop because she sends me so many good scoops. Anyway, it was a deep fake video audio of Governor Ron DeSantis basically saying, I'm dropping out of the election. I'm upset with my campaign. I should have never run, blah, blah, blah. Now, the audio was a little bit goofy. I could tell that there's no way Ron DeSantis would say any of this stuff. But if they had created a much more polished and professional version where he just kind of stated some facts and didn't interject some slight humor to make you realize it's fake, people would think it's real. And then I went through, this was on X, the former Twitter. Again, not a fan of that rebranding. And then I went through and I read through the comments, and oh my God, you're talking about thousands of comments. Obviously, I did not read all thousands, but I read probably, I don't know, maybe 50 of them. And of those 50, I'd say at least half of those people thought that post was real. And they're like, thank God. Some people were like, thank God you dropped out. You should have never entered. Or other people are like, say it ain't so. Come on, Ron, we really want you. It spanned the gamut, but it made me realize half of these people thought this was real. The other one was, I've heard a lot of stuff about Burning Man and kind of what's going on over at Burning Man, which is something I never had any desire to attend. Just a little fun fact about Ray D. But so I reached out to a couple friends of mine that I knew are big Burning Man fans, and I said, hey, are you at Burning Man this year? And if so, or if you have any people, can you give me the reality of what's going on over there? And it was interesting. It was 3 for 3. All 3 were there. And they said, yeah, it's not even remotely as bad as these stories are making it out to be. Yes, there is, some mud and this and that. But, again, I don't know. According to the 3 people I talked to, there was not the situation that seems to be depicted in so many posts and so many stories. So those are just 2 examples. And I mean, that's insane. Think about that. 2 things that are completely not true are gathering and garnering so much attention as if they were true. And some of these, savvy creators of that content are able to link their Google AdSense, and they're getting people to click on that story, and they're making money off of this. That's insane. That's truly insane. They're making money off of their business model of posting salacious fake information. That's a problem. I really wish Google and Facebook and these other platforms took that stuff as seriously as they did some of the things that they censored over the past 3 years that now are being shown to be totally true, you know? Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. That'll be another time, another sandbox. And that is it for today. Wanted to just close out on this concept of trying to, more than anything, I'm just recommending everybody, let's start critical thinking about all this stuff. Just because you see it on the internet, just because you see it on Facebook, just because you see it on a reel or something, it doesn't mean it's true. And, I'm not saying be skeptical of everything, but what I am saying is try to critically think about things, especially if you're starting to see it in a salacious way, or if it just doesn't make sense to you. If you're like, that's kind of goofy, that's weird, then maybe take a minute and, do a little research, do a little thought-provoking analysis before you start thinking that, or before I should say you start taking all of that at face value. All right, everybody, that's it. Remember, call a spade, and we will talk to you soon.
This episode was brought to you by Boost Liquid Vitamins. Wake up, take your Boost, start your day. Drink your vitamins, build your immune system with Boost. Available on Boost.com.